Welcome to Inside the Indians, your source for insider information on the Tribe. Stay with us as we bring you the latest about the players, managers, and people behind the scenes at Victory Field. Now here's your host, the longtime broadcast voice of the Indians, Howard Kellman.
Hi everybody. Welcome to our final Inside the Indians show of the season. We'll talk to Pittsburgh Pirates field coordinator Brad Fischer, traveling secretary and video man Matt Ducondi, and the great Razor Shines. We'll be back with Brad on the home of the Indians, WHNB TV 40. Brad Fischer, the Pittsburgh Pirates field coordinator, our next guest on Inside the Indians. Brad, we've talked to you several times over the years. You've got a great background in the minor and major leagues. Tell us about the responsibility of a field coordinator.
Well, first of all, it's been an awesome job because I'm able to move around and see all of our players play. I would say the biggest part of what I do is to make sure that our managers are staying on track with our development plan with each and every player, to make sure that we're getting the work done on the field that we need to advance our players' careers. And each of our players has what we call a blueprint, which is the way ahead for them. We have a head and heart section, then we also have a development section where, they note what they're working on as far as offense and defense. So staying on top of that process is basically what I do.
Spring training must be really quite busy for you.
Spring training is total chaos because we have a big organization. We've got approximately 200 plus players, and so putting them together on four, 5.5 fields is a challenge every year. So it's a busy time of the year. We're trying to get the players ready to go out and play a championship season, and there's never a dull moment in spring training.
What's the difference, and you've been a big league coach for several teams, what's the difference for you working in the big leagues as a coach as opposed to working in the minor leagues?
Well, that's a great question. Obviously, everybody wants to be in the major leagues, but as far as gratification as a coach and a teacher, the minor leagues is a far better place to be. The major leagues is always fun because you're in great stadiums, and everything is first class. You're seeing the best baseball in the world on a nightly basis. You get down in the minor leagues, the players listen a little bit more. There's more teaching that goes on, and the interaction with the players is a little bit closer, whereas in the big leagues, you're just providing them with, batting practice and ground balls, and there's far less teaching. And so the minor leagues is a very gratifying place to be.
That's really well said. Now, you started, I think, your first big league coaching opportunities was with Oakland. Mm-hmm. That's quite a while ago. What's the difference between being a big league coach, you recently were with the Pirates, in this day and age as opposed to some 20 years ago?
Well, there are a couple major differences. When I first got to the major leagues, the players were far more polished when they got to the big leagues. They had spent much more time in the minor leagues. There were more older veteran players around, and quite often players weren't getting there until they were 26, 27, 28. Today, players are rushed through the system. We try to move them to the big leagues as needed, but they quite often don't get the at-bats and the innings pitched and the innings played like they used to, so they're getting there with far less experience. So as a major league coach, we're finding ourselves having to do a lot more coaching, one-on-one type stuff in the major leagues now than we used to. The other difference is the analytics in the game, which I think everybody across that watches and you hear the announcers talk about the analytics in the game. That's changed it immensely. We used to worry about batting average and innings pitched and pitches per inning, some of the basic stuff, but now there's so much information that we use to evaluate where our players are at, not only on the field but off the field, that it's changed the way we coach and the methods by which we evaluate our players.
I think information is great, but I also think, and you got a background in catching, the analytics aren't going to tell you a change you've noted in a hitter's stance, a minute change during the course of a game, all those things that happen. They're not going to tell you that this guy is really struggling at a particular moment in a particular situation. He's not feeling good today. His confidence may not go. There's so much more into it.
There are a lot of things that go into it, and the numbers don't always reflect exactly where a player's at in the course of a game. But there's a track record and a history that the numbers will give you some background on, and you can make your decisions based on that. But how a player's feeling any one night is you'd like to think that our catchers are cerebral enough to be able to evaluate where a player's at in an at bat or in a game, and be able to make their decisions, calling pitches as that stands. So it's a whole different game nowadays than it used to be. You used to sit back and watch the players play, and they had a knowledge of where they needed to play on each hitter. Now we have charts and graphs and all computerized models to show us where our players should stand on the field on any given pitch.
Brad, thank you so much. Always great to see you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Howard.
That's Brad Fischer on the home of the Indians, WHMB TV 40. Ducondi, our next guest on Inside the Indians. You mean a lot to this ball club. You have a title, but I don't know if that clearly explains it, because you handle video and you also handle traveling secretary stuff. So you're doing two jobs at once. Tell us how things have gone for you this year.
It's been good. It's been a learning experience for sure. First couple of weeks, first couple of months were a little tumultuous getting my feet under me, but as time has gone on, the staff has helped me everywhere that I could imagine, and yeah, so far so good. Still things that get thrown at me that I'm not expecting, but that's the nature of the job, and you just do what you can do to stay afloat.
Tell us about the video work. Mm-hmm. Please tell us about it. You work with Brian Esposito, I'm sure, and the three coaches. Yeah,
so every game we'll record the game from like 7 different angles so that we can cut it up, and then coaching staff, players, front office can look at it from whichever way they want, see things to show a guy why he might be late on a pitch, to scouting other teams, to what we could have done better for a game plan strategy. So it's a lot of different uses. But yeah, so we'll do that for every game, and you can watch every pitch from any different angle that you want.
So you're working with both the hitters and the pitchers.
Yeah, so it's used for both the hitters and pitchers, used for some advanced scouting stuff, used for some mechanical changes if guys see something that they're slumping, used for reviewing their game plan, how they attacked a guy, how they were being attacked. So there's a wide range of uses for that.
I think this is good preparation, not only for these guys on a daily basis, but when they get to the big leagues, there's even more of that up there.
Oh yeah, up in the big leagues, they have more video than you could imagine. I mean, the amount of information that they have is incredible. So we're trying to mimic it as much as we can. It's one-man operation down here, but I mean, the amount that we have is also pretty impressive.
Have you found that some players want this more than other players do?
Oh, absolutely. Some guys want it every day. Some guys want it when they're slumping. Some guys want it when they're doing well and only want to see when they're driving the ball the other way. Some guys want it after every start. Some guys just want to see certain batters. So we have all that, and then there's a website that they can go to and they can watch it on their own if they don't have it on their phone, which allows you to just like sort it and look at everything with all the like advanced information, TrackMan data and stuff like that.
What are you doing during the game?
During the game, I'm just charting the game, so more to do with the video side of my job. So tracking everything that happens in the game, all the pitches, everything the batters do, every positional change. So really just keeping track of like you would see on like a game day or something, but to a more advanced degree. Okay, let's talk about the traveling secretary work. We were just on a road trip. When we're on a road trip,
What's your job like when the team's on the road?
It changes all the time. I mean, I'm in charge of all the money, so all the what they call the trainer money, so the advance. So for clubbies, making sure if we have any incidentals, if guys are going up to the show or coming down or coming up from AA, making sure I coordinate all the movement with Greg Johnson, the traveling secretary, or the other operations assistant in Altoona, depending on where the player's going. Deal with all the player meal money. I deal with all the hotels and making sure that everybody's set up there. Making sure that we have our accommodations set with the buses, that we know where we're going, when we're going, that we don't leave a player in Rochester, New York, or wherever it may be. So really just making sure that there's no thinking on everybody else's side as to our travel plans, that they know where they have to be, when they have to be there, and it's all smooth sailing from that.
This communication with the traveling secretary part of the job, with the bus companies, with the hotels, I mean, you really have to communicate. You have to dot every I and cross every T, because if you don't, something's going to miss.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the amount of player moves that we've had this year, leaving a player off of a hotel rooming list is very easy to do. So there's certainly a lot of attention to detail. I mean, making sure that the bus knows this is when we're going to be loading, and that the players know that this is when we're going to be loading, so that everybody's on the same page. And so from my point of view, like, I'd rather ask 3 times than not ask at all, and just make sure that we have all the information correct and everybody's in the right place at the right time.
And I've noticed on bus rides, because you're sitting not too far from me usually, that you'll call the hotel several hours before, and that goes under the, maybe you've called them or you've talked to them 3 days ago or a week ago, but communication is everything, and you have to call them that night too.
Yeah, I just like giving them a heads up, just making sure that they know that we're on our way, so that when we show up at 1 a.m., it's not a surprise, and they're like, oh, okay. Good. So this way they'll have the keys ready at least, or hopefully.
Yeah, well, that means everything to the traveling party. And again, if you aren't thorough, which you are, and you deserve a lot of credit for that, if you aren't thorough, not everything's going to work out well, and you're going to have unhappy people.
Right, yeah. I mean, keeping every relatively happy is what I'm striving to do. I mean, you can't please everyone, but hopefully we've done it so far. So
tell us your background and how you came to work for the Pirates and the Indianapolis Indians.
So I had worked in baseball for a while, for like 4 or 5 years, but not in the baseball operations sense. And then 4 years ago, I went to a company called Baseball Info Solutions when I decided I wanted to do baseball ops. It's a company in Pennsylvania, so I moved from Charleston, South Carolina to there, and it's a lot of video work, a lot of like analytics that they produce for teams, for media outlets, for video game companies, magazines. And so it's a great introduction to working in baseball. So you're watching baseball all day, all night, charting, scoring, reviewing, and then I had an opportunity with the Pirates last year, and I was in Morgantown, West Virginia, and then they wanted me to take over in AAA, and here I find myself.
Well, Matt, I thank you for your time. I also thank you as one of the traveling party for all the great work that you do. You've had a terrific season. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Howard.
Thank you. That's Matt Ducondi on the home of the Indians, WHMB TV 40. Where did that come from?
Well, it's a family name. A lot of people don't believe it, so I usually give them a story about how I got the nickname, but actually it's a family name. And when they say that, it's some people say, oh no, and then I say, okay, the Razor comes from this or that, and they enjoy it more. But it was my father's middle name. I think it was his father's middle name. It's my middle name. It's my son's middle name. And it is my grandson's middle name.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Now, you signed a contract with the Montreal Expos to play professional baseball. Tell us the story behind that.
Well, you know, baseball is something, Howard, I've always wanted to do, and I thought I was pretty good at it. And as a kid, I used to tell my mom, you know, I want to play Major League Baseball one day.
Growing up in North Carolina.
Growing up in North Carolina, I used to say that, and you know, people would like, yeah, right, sure, you know. But I believed I could, because every age group I was in, I was either the best player there or one of the best players there. So I felt like, you know, I was going to be okay. And one day, you know, a quick story. One day, you know, we were playing in a 12 and under league, and I was just tearing them up. And the opposing fans and family members were like, well, he's too old, he shouldn't be there anyway. And my mother said, well, guys, you better get used to it, because he's only 11, he's going to beat you up again next year.
That's great. And you signed a professional contract with the Expos.
Yes, I did. I got drafted out of St. Augustine's College, and couldn't wait to sign. I mean, I couldn't wait to sign. The minute the scout that drafted me got to my house, I was like, where do I sign, sir? He said, well, this is going to be easy. I said, yes, sir. I just want to sign. I just want to play and work my way to the major leagues.
Early in that season, Kurt Hunt, the PA announcer, and Bruce Schumacher continued it. Instead of saying now batting razor shines, Kurt said now batting razor shines. And you lined the ball in the gap for a double. And your next time up, Kurt Hunt did it again. He said now batting razor shines. You got another base hit, and it just took off from there.
You know what? The first time I heard that walking to the plate, it kind of startled me a little bit, because as a hitter walking to the plate, you're listening for your name because you want to hear the reaction to the crowd. And when I heard that, it kind of startled me, you know, and got in, and as you said, I got a base hit or a double. And then walking to the plate the next time, I wanted to hear it so bad, and he repeated it. And it sounded so great, and then the crowd picked it up and took off from there.
Bruce Schumacher continued that as he played here for 9 years. But what was interesting is that I remember you saying to Kurt Hunt once, and Kurt saying to you, well, you made me. You said, no, you made me, and each of you guys made the other with that.
Yeah, Kurt told me that we had dinner the other night, and he said, Razor, you know, had you went up there and you made outs, and he said, I think I would have had to stop that. But I said, no, Kurt, thank you, and I appreciated what he did.
Baseball is such a difficult game to play, and Buck Rogers said that you are mentally strong, mentally tough, and it's a hard game to play, and you have to be mentally strong to be successful at it.
It's like I tell kids when I'm managing, and I managed for a lot of years on the minor league level, from rookie ball all the way to AAA baseball. And if you're going to be successful in baseball, you have to be able to handle your failures, because if you cannot handle failing in baseball, it's not going to work out for you.
1985, you spent most of the year in the major leagues with Montreal. You were in Indianapolis for a bit over a month, and the team did well when you were here, but we had a rough season. Felipe Alou was the manager that year. Buck Rogers had gone on to manage the Expos. I still remember you getting a number of big hits in 1985, even though you weren't here that long.
Well, you know, it was a tough season for us here in Indianapolis, because the last I've known of Indianapolis was '84, and we, as you mentioned, was 91 and 63, something like that.
That's what it was.
And I expected that when I came back, when they sent me down. You know, I expected that, and well, we played a lot better. I think Galarraga was here.
Yes.
And we played a lot better. We hit back to back, and we caused a few problems.
The end of the year, unfortunately, you tore up your leg in Montreal, I believe, with Montreal in New York against the Mets.
Correct.
Unfortunately, that was a major injury.
Yeah, it was a major injury. I mean, it hurt. I mean, I had to fly back. Everybody was prepared to leave New York and go home. You know, I was going from there to North Carolina. But I had to fly back on the team plane and have surgery on my knee. I mean, it banged it up pretty good. And unfortunately for me, I was released that winter, and I think it was because of that injury. And I had to work my way back.
You've spoken so highly of Max Schumacher, and I know Max wanted you back. And tell us what happened there.
Yeah, he did. He said, you know, we'll see what the Expos say about that razor, but I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. But make no mistake about it, I want you here. I want you to be a part of it, and we'll see what happens. But the Expos didn't have a position. They didn't have a spot. So Max said, well, can we sign him as the bullpen catcher? We just need him to be in the organization, be a part of that. And the Expos agreed to that and signed me as a bullpen catcher, not on the active roster or anything. But soon after that, I think Randy Hunt was a kid. He got hurt, and I was activated. I mean, I was activated to the playing roster, and things went great from there.
Look forward to our special in 2 weeks, The Life and Times of Razor Shine. Thanks to our guests, Brad Fischer, Matt Ducondi, and the great Razor Shines. And look forward to our special in 2 weeks, The Life and Times of Razor Shine.